I went through my comments and tallied up everyone's challenge requests and was surprised to find that beating the game as Vi from Arcane was the most asked for challenge, narrowly beating out the Diamond City Guard run, which in and of itself is surprising how popular that idea was. I'll most likely get to that challenge video in the future, but for now, let's focus on Vi. This is my second Arcane inspired challenge run. I'll get into the rules and mods I used in this video as I go. With that being said, I hope you enjoy the show. I started the run by trying to capture Vi's look, trying to get the right scars, broken nose, and the overall goth aesthetic that she had in the second season. Just like her sister, I had trouble with her hair, and used the same mod I used in the Jinx video. Commonwealth Cuts by I'm Erwin and a nice oak tree. I think the hair looks pretty close. I like to think that she discovered what conditioner is. With her look pretty close, we can continue. However, there's something wrong here, and now I'm a lesbian. I went through the normal stuff like setting my special points, played with my adoptive son's mobile, and promptly ran for my life to the nearby bunker. My wife changed clothes in the middle of running away somehow and oh, that's a nuke. Fuck. We made it inside the vault, where I stuffed my muscles into a skin-tight jumpsuit and was quickly frozen. When I came to, however, my wife had escaped the pod somehow, and was just standing there. This got real awkward when Kellogg showed up. Sadly, this broke the game. Didn't know Fallout 4 was homophobic. I had to go back to where we get into the crowd pods and turned my wife back into Nate. This thankfully worked out and my spouse got shot. After I de-thawed and checked on them, I was surprised to find Nate had some work done while I was asleep. With all that out of the way, I made my way through the vault. For this challenge, I am only allowed to use my fists and the powerfist, just like what Vi would use. That made this vault very easy to get through. I grabbed the Pip-Boy and escaped to the surface. I immediately went back home and grabbed my favorite comic book and raised my luck to 5 for the 88 Savant perk. I used a water pump to heal up before going off into the wasteland to search for supplies. I got chased by some shine addicts before having a calm conversation with someone. I tried to intimidate them, but that only got me a bullet in the back of the head. The next time through, I tried to focus on the one with the rifle, but she soon showed me what the butt of her gun tasted like. Annoyed, I used my brain for once and hid inside the diner as the group fought it out. I did try to help at one point, but I only got humiliated again because I had nothing in the way of armor. I was finally able to get my revenge when she got low on health and stole her clothes to complete my goth aesthetic. I soon found myself in the city where I get my ass eaten by a giant green dog. I was able to discover Bunker Hill though, as well as a random church, before immediately running into another mutant hound and getting the fuck out of there. The damn thing chased me down and got me within an inch of my life. I tried to hide in a nearby store, wondering how this could get any worse.
Oh, hell no!
I somehow didn't get exploded and escaped the store, only to be chased down again by the green piece of shit. At this point, I was annoyed and decided, fuck it. I met the monster with a couple of punches to its stupid snout. One hit from the damn thing could take a quarter of my health and cripple my limbs easily, keeping me on my toes. I tried to attack it, but for some reason the damn thing attacks so damn fast that I am unable to pop a stim pack and dies again. Thoroughly pissed off, I made my way to Good Neighbor and took my anger out on the bald asshole standing at the front, making sure to grab him by the balls and break his back while I'm at it. I was finally able to take him out and did some shopping to cool off. Ooh, I think I know who would like this. I'd made my way to Swan's Pond, the location for my main weapon. However, I doubt I was going to be able to take down Swan at level fucking 4. Either way, I decided to test it out nonetheless, to see how well I would be able to do. If you use the pathway down to Park Street Station, Swan will be unable to follow you, and if you time it right when he slams his club down, you can run up and uppercut him right in the loincloth. I like to pretend I'm punching a large green wrinkly water balloon. I did this for a while, and sometimes the bastard is able to nail me like he's playing whack-a-mole, destroying my health in the process. At some point, I had ran out of healing supplies and knew I wouldn't be able to take him down right now. I reverted to an old save and ignored Swan for now, and discovered the public library. I made it to Diamond City and whoa, Vi, calm down, girl. I was able to get the gate open, and immediately ignored the mayor to get inside. The first thing I did was bring back my pink hair and enjoyed some of the local entertainment. I talked with the guy who got his ass kicked, and that ended with me giving the bartender the fucking power knee. With that taken care of, I stopped by the mayor's office, distracted the guard outside, and stole Kellogg's house key for later. Before I went out to stop a drug deal, I dealt with a guy holding someone at gunpoint, and I swear to God it looked like I used the special move from Fist of the North Star. If you know what that is, leave it in the comments. I made my way to the drug deal and popped whatever drugs I could and punched the rich guy in the back of the head. I probably should have focused on the triggermen with Tommy guns, as they ripped through my health like toilet paper. I didn't make the same mistake twice, taking out the main threats before focusing on the ones in charge. The rich boy tried to run away from me, and I introduced him to my fucking knee. I dealt with Trish, stole all the sweet drugs, and returned to Concord to punch a giant bug. I decided I would be going with the Minutemen for this run, and I started making my way through the raiders that were harassing the small group. What the fuck is in my knee? Cause goddamn. I continued the raider punching inside, turned the man into a fucking pretzel, and got tickled by a shotgun, before finally meeting with Preston. I quickly made it outside and was surprised to find Trash Can Carla helping me out with the raiders. That is until the Deathclaw appeared. I made the stupid decision to try and punch the damn thing.
I'm in danger!
I used the hardware store as cover to beat at the monster, weaving out of the way of its claws just to come back with more punches. The Deathclaw got slightly distracted by nearby raiders, and even sent one to the fucking moon. I gave the Deathclaw a wallop in the snout before finally finishing it off. Get your bitch ass out of here! I returned to Preston with my success and soon met up with him back at Sanctuary to get even more XP. When I booted up the game next, my mod glitched out and gave me a buzz cut. I was thankfully able to fix it by restarting the game and decided to go back and try and beat Swan once again. I took him back to the subway entrance, and while I watched, I realized that whenever he slammed the ground, the shockwave would hit him as well, damaging him. Realizing this was like a breath of fresh air, turning this fight into one of patience rather than attrition. All I needed to do was bait out his swing attacks enough times to take him out. I must say that I really underestimated how damn long this would actually take for the big bastard to actually die. When he was getting really low on health, he stopped doing the slam attack as much, forcing me to get even closer to get him to attack, until he finally took himself out. I grabbed the Furious Power Fist from his corpse, which I turned black with Black Power Fist by Kaito. I went back to Sanctuary and downgraded the fist to make it look more like Vi's gauntlets. I set up my very own facial surgery chair, where I got rid of my broken nose and added some face paint. I went back to Good Neighbor and stole Cleo's Fat Man and Mini Nuke, which I then sold to Daisy next door to frame her for the theft and pay for a piece of armor to increase my speed. I made my way to the public library to grab the intelligence bobblehead for the medic perk, and went all out on the invading super mutants. Although I didn't expect to find another group to appear and absolutely melt my health, I went back to smashing my fist against the mutants' faces, enjoying the pure damage that the Furious Power Fist was able to dish out, as I made them regret pissing off a pink-haired lesbian with anger issues and a thing for fisting. I finished off the rest of them, said hello to Larry, and went home to set up some water purifiers for a healing source. I went off to finish a Minuteman quest, where I scared the shit out of an unsuspecting raider, before I got filled with bullets a second afterward. Thankfully, next time I just sprinted right through the boss like he was nothing, and returned to the settlement to report my success. I returned to get more missions from Preston, before finding myself at a subway station bashing in the heads of triggermen. Drugs are a lifesaver in this fight, as they keep me from dying and allow me to punch my way through my problems. Most of the triggermen were only able to take one or two of my punches, but there were a few that were able to withstand more. I threw one of the triggermen by the balls, punched a man so hard he did a flip, and humiliated a pair of guards at the entrance to the vault. I continued my way through the oh hi Mark. I dealt with Dino like I did everyone else, rescued the living toaster, and didn't hide like a bitch when the triggerman opened the door. I did so good I grabbed some whiskey to celebrate. When I reached Skinny, I immediately attacked the group, but my drugs chose right fucking then to expire, making me die soon afterwards. I made sure to top off my drugs before attacking Skinny and his posse once again, but their suits gave them little damage resistance to my massive piece of punching metal. I met up with Valentine before returning to Diamond City to stock up on supplies, threw a baseball at a Russian man's head before buying his entire stock of alcohol. I met up with Nick afterwards, used Kellogg's key to enter his house, and found his BDSM dungeon. I allowed a dog to sniff my hand, crafted some dirty wastelander, which will come in real handy in the near future. I did my favorite tradition, went off in search for Kellogg's hideout, and stumbled upon a random jet engine, which I immediately set to blow up. I admired the fireball for a couple seconds before making my way to Kellogg's bunker, and for once, I didn't wait to start the punching. I entered the hideout and introduced my mechanized fist to a synthetic skin and metal jaws, as I punched over and over again until the robots stopped moving. Further in, I used one of their landmines against them, dealing massive damage to them and popping their arms off. The rest of the bunker was a little more than me letting out all my pent-up rage and anger out on these stupid robots, who kept pissing me off more with their spinning arm melee attack, an attack created to annoy the living shit out of any melee user. I finally made it to Kellogg. I gave Kellogg the fisting of a lifetime until he went down like a little bald bitch that he was. I made sure to steal all of his shit, made him assume the position, and let out the rest of my annoyance. I grabbed Kellogg's search history, watched the giant blimp fly in, and returned to Nick to finish off the worst part of the game. I sent Dogmeat back to Sanctuary, met up with Dr. Amari, and got to see the inside mind of a bald man. I got out of there and immediately made my way to Virgil, where I get chased by a giant scorpion who wanted to sting my ass. I finally made it to the glowing sea, and had a fun time basting my fist against a horde of feral ghouls, thankful for their fairly predictable attack patterns that are easily blocked. I was able to find Virgil, who immediately sends me off to take out a courser. I embarrassed a gunner with a turret explosion, which makes him flop on the floor like a funny ragdoll. I punched my way through the wannabe militia, nearly getting killed a couple of times, but that didn't deter me from punching a guy with a missile launcher in the face. I continued my rampage through the peons, coloring my fist with their blood before finally reaching the courser. With one punch, I knocked his gun out of his hands, and didn't let up for a second as I punched and punched. He tried to take a stim pack, but my damage was way too high at this point to allow that, killing him easily. Now with that taken care of, oh hello. During all this, I've been adding points to charisma for a specific perk for this run. I picked up the courser's brain chip, and went out to find the railroad in order for them to decode the damn thing. I was able to level up and pick the party girl perk to become immune to getting addicted to alcohol. This is gonna be fun. I returned to Virgil to get the teleport plans, talked with Sturgis to get help in building the machine, and with a flash of light, I am sent into the Institute. I downloaded their secrets, and finally found my adoptive son. I didn't ask questions and gave that father bastard a piece of my mind, and a whiskey-fueled punch to his fragile old man jaw. I tried to break my son out of his cell, but I was forced to retreat back to the teleporter room, where I needed to fight two Sins, who really liked setting me on fucking fire for some reason. I colored the room red with my own blood by the time I took them out, and immediately escaped through the teleporter. I returned the holotape to Sturgis, and was able to get the second rank of the party girl perk, allowing me to increase the effects of alcohol by double, making the 3 strength I would get from Dirty Wastelander, and turning it into a 6-point increase, which is fucking nuts. I went out to finish more Minuteman quests, stumbling on a random Brotherhood patrol who swiftly gets a suicider to the face. I dealt with the rest of the mutants before going inside to drain the water treatment plant, forcing me to fight off Mirelurks, who were able to block my melee attacks with their shells. I was only able to deal normal damage to them through VATS, but that doesn't help when the crabs ascend to heaven. I flipped the switch to drain the rest of the facility before resetting the main water pump to finish the mission. Instead of returning to the settlement though, I paid a visit to a different one nearby. I went out to take down a raider group close by, taking care of most of them with very little difficulty. I was finishing off some of the last few raiders when I get attacked by the final one with a metric shit ton of grenades. I don't know where they kept all of those, but damn were there a lot of them. I was finally able to finish him off when he ran out. I returned to the settlements to complete the missions before getting sent out to clear out the National Guard training yard. I've been curious if doing a pre-war soldier challenge run would be interesting to you guys. Let me know in the comments below. Most of the ghouls aren't all that challenging to deal with on their own, but when they're all clumped together in a small enclosed area, they become very annoying to kill. I was able to find a rare bottle of rum, making the inner Jack Sparrow inside of me very happy. I was finally confronted by the main glowing one, but the fight wasn't all that difficult as it was all by itself. I did find a ghoul stuck in a corner and I tried to put a trash can on its head. However, I accidentally freed the thing and I was forced to put him down. I finished the mission and then remembered a special quest I could find in the Hotel Rexford. I talked with Rufus, who sends me off to the Shamrock Tap House, where I need to deal with the average Shamrock Shake addicts, who have gone insane after the shake disappeared after the bombs dropped. I made it into the basement, killing a shit ton of mole rats, also retrieve a special Protectron known as Buddy. Buddy is a brewing robot who is able to chill alcohol inside of itself. I am supposed to send it back to the Hotel Rexford, but I decided to keep it for myself. Somewhere in the building, I found the jackpot of alcohol and drugs before I found myself at a drug lab, where I introduced the lab workers to my powerfist. I found the biggest skibbity toilet fan before making my way to the castle in order to clear it out with the Minutemen. Sadly, the castle is infested with Mirelurks, and they are definitely the most tanky enemies for melee characters. I tried to bash my power fist into their stupid shells until they finally went down. I made some scrambled eggs and dealt with the Mirelurk from fucking hell, shrugging off being set on fire by Preston and laughing at my punches. I was thankfully able to take it out and then went out to fist their mama. What did he say? I pumped myself full of drugs and downed enough alcohol to make Archer proud in order to fight the damn Crab Queen. I tried to keep my health continually topped off as the beast is able to take off most of my health in one hit. I was super thankful for my weapon's ability to increase damage the more I hit the same target, making this fight much easier. I was finally able to finish off the giant seafood dinner, set up the castle's radio, and crafted even more Dirty Wastelander. I went back to Sanctuary and got attitude from Marcy. before finding myself back at the Russian man's bar. The Russian guy wanted me to help his friend Travis get more confidence. I waited for Travis to appear, got distracted by a big bell, until the main man finally appeared. The plan was to have Travis win a bar fight for him to gain a confidence, but I guess I was too powerful for these idiots because my hits broke the game, getting them stuck on the floor and not letting the quest proceed. I got bored of waiting and brought the two dumbasses closer together. Well, this is awkward. I had to leave the bar and come back to progress the quest. I became Travis's wingman, learned that the Russian man had been kidnapped by the two dumbasses, and grabbed Travis to help bring him back. I met him outside the Beantown Brewery before going inside. I wanted to do this quest because I thought I would be able to get a whole lot of beer. However, I was sadly mistaken and took my anger out on the nearby kidnappers. We were able to rescue the Russian guy and went off to finish some more Minuteman quests. I am able to punch my way through everything in my way in one hit, decimating the raiders. I grabbed a locket and returned it to its owner. I then found myself fighting off fire-worshipping weirdos to retrieve a man's sun and fire sword. I reached the boss room, talked the son into returning home, and punched the boss in the back of his unprotected head. A giant 2-ton suit of power armor doesn't really help when your entire head is completely exposed, making it a great squishy target to aim for during a fight. I was able to take the boss out, grab the sweet fire sword, and return to Finch Farm to finish the mission. At this point, I was tired of only getting 2 hits in VATS and decided to invest in my agility stats. I stumbled across a random raider wearing power armor on my way to the next settlement before I get sent out to rescue a kidnapped settler from a nearby raider group. She was being kept in a jail cell that brought back good memories.
If you know what I'm talking about.
I returned to Preston to turn in the settlement missions and sent him back to the castle with his very own minigun. I paid a visit to Daisy to resupply before heading over to the combat zone to pick up the alternate version of myself. Her voice somehow making me slightly pissed off, and I don't know why. I sent Kate to the castle as well as giving her a minigun for the future castle defense quest. I met up with Ronnie Shaw when she finally showed up, and swiftly got destroyed by a random turret in the bowels of the castle. I didn't let that happen again and met up with Sarge as we tried to get into the castle's armory. Like all sentry bots, he's tanky as shit and is able to take a lot of my punches, but sooner or later, I am able to take the giant hunk of steel down. I got some very rare wine, acquired the schematics for the artillery, and built the giant cannon. I began to set up the defenses for the castle because I knew that once I finished Ronnie Shaw's quest, then the castle defense mission would start. I wanted to be prepared for that fight and decided to hold off on finishing the quest and went out to prepare. I started out by picking up Piper and Nick and sending them back to the castle. I then had a very funny idea, which involved me getting my ass pounded by a bunch of robots. I don't know why the fuck these robots are able to just absolutely melt through my health, but it took multiple deaths before I'm able to finish off the attacking robots and rescue Ada. Although, she wasn't what I was looking for. That would be the robot workbench to change the robot's appearance. I took the plans back to Sanctuary, but when I tried to use it, I couldn't find Buddy in the robot selection screen, meaning I couldn't make my beer buddy an 8-foot tall war machine of death. I was stuck with Ada as a consolation prize, and made my way to the Mass Fusion building to grab the Strength bobblehead, as well as to let off some steam. The gunners on the inside of the building were little more than punching dummies. Even their power armor wearing boss didn't stand much of a chance against my superior strength. I grabbed the Strength bobblehead, did another resupply run, and purchased some legendary armor to increase my speed and strength even more. With that taken care of, I went off in search of the agility bobblehead to increase my VATS. Getting closer to the tanker, I saw a Mirelurk fly through the air, before finding that the ship raiders were mostly dead. Thoroughly confused, I finished off the rest of the raiders and grabbed the agility bobblehead. Wanting one more companion for the castle fight, I found myself at Trinity Tower to rescue Baby Hulk. The tower filled with super mutants wasn't much harder than taking out a bunch of regular raiders at this point. With all my drugs and gear alone, I had around 14 to 15 strength, and that's without taking the extra strength I would have from Dirty Wastelander. Getting to the top of the tower, I fisted Fist with my fist hard enough to knock the minigun out of his hand, and made him run away like a little bitch. I rescued Strong and Rex, grabbed the melee bobblehead, and took the long elevator ride down to the ground. I sent Strong to the castle and gave him Fist's minigun for fun. I returned to set up more defenses before finally setting off the artillery smoke signal and enjoyed the light show of the giant fireballs. With that quest completed, the castle defense soon started, giving me little time to prepare. In the meantime, I combined some chems to increase their effects as well as level up once again. Oop, don't look at that. When the attack finally appeared, I popped every chem and drank every different kind of alcohol I had in my inventory, raising my strength all the way to fucking 23 and adding a whole host different effects.
What? It's just an ordinary crabby. Oh my goodness!
With enough strength to rip a man in two, I descended upon the attacking synths like an angel of death, making high-level robots look like nothing more than basic synths. One of my punches was enough to take out over half of their health, making this fight so cathartic for some reason. Remember when I gave Preston and Kate and Strong a minigun? Well, quick tip for anyone, if you put a single 5mm bolt in their inventory, if they are just in the settlement, their AI will use the minigun as if it had unlimited ammo, making them perfect for dishing out the damage during the settlement defense. I spent most of the castle defense in the back part, dealing with the constant onslaught of more and more synths. Their lasers weren't able to do much damage to my body at this point, and even if they did get me down to low health, I have enough points in the medic perk to make a single stim pack heal most of my health bar.
He's just standing there, menacingly!
The synth rampage escalated the longer I went, before I finally started to fight off the invisible bastards. I still have PTSD from the invisible enemy video, and whenever I see an invisible enemy, I can't help but absolutely demolish them. I took out another courser. Strong lost a fucking arm! Oh, thank God. Finishing off the castle defense, a courser tried to run away like a bitch, and I refused to leave survivors. I had to fucking Flint Lockwood my way after a fleeing synth, before punching it in the ass so hard I caused internal bleeding. I was able to finish off the quest, and stopped by Sturgis to learn how to attack the Institute. I made my way to the Institute's back door, taking out the raiders that got in my way as I went, being able to level up and get the Action Girl perk to increase my action point and refresh speed. With that finished, I swam into the Institute's asshole, didn't get killed by the starting turrets for once, and dealt with the feral ghoul infestation in their sewers. I punched my way through the few synth guards on my way to the teleporter room. Got the machine working, and transported the Minutemen into the Institute. Preston gave me the bomb. I didn't hold back on the drugs and alcohol and started the synth-ass beatdown. I even used the different kinds of food I've been collecting to gain even more buffs and making me more of a fucking force of nature. No matter what the synths tried to do to me, I just shrugged off their damage and bashed my powerfist into their stupid robot faces. I made a sentry bot explode in my face, and then found myself fighting off giant robotic monkeys. I've always wondered why the fuck the Institute's scientists were so focused on creating robot gorillas. If anyone knows the answer, leave it in the comments below. Finishing off the monkeys and the rest of the synths in the garden area, I topped off my buffs. With everything ready, I barged into the main atrium area with synth blood on my mind, not stopping my punching until there was nothing left in my way. I was a little surprised at how easily I was able to delete the synth in my way, as well as how quickly it took me to clear out the atrium as a whole. I witnessed Father ascend to heaven, deactivated the Institute lockdown, and went back to punching synths like usual. It didn't matter if the robots set me on fire or electrocuted my ass. I did not let up on the rampage, forcing my way all the way to the reactor room. I bum rushed the wimpy scientist first before turning the black armor synth into my little bitch, rearranging its synthetic face with my mechanical punches. Don't worry, I didn't forget about the synth with the missile launcher, as I made sure to shove that thing down its throat for even trying to shoot me. I attached the bomb to the reactor, probably growing the third arm in the process, and was transported out to Sturgis. I grabbed my completely real and definitely not robot son, and teleported out to the top of the mass fusion building. I pressed the big red button and watched as the Institute went up into a giant ball of destruction, proving that yes, you can beat Fallout 4 as Vi. Thank you all for making it to the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I hope you'll come back for more. Thank you to everyone who commented challenge videos, and I will try to get to them all in the future. If you have any challenge ideas, don't be shy to put them down in the comments. With all that being said, thank you all for coming out. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. Love you guys. See ya.